Hello there, Tasha Shore, your partner in parenting. And today in this video, I am going to talk to you about how much you should do for your sweet boy versus how much you should be encouraging him to do these things for himself. It's a question that comes up a lot in parenting. And I think it's particularly tricky in peaceful parenting because we're not looking to come down hard and use control to get these things to happen. So, what are we supposed to do? I want to start out by telling you a story. Earlier today, actually, I was leading a group and talking to some parents who I know, and one shared a story that I thought was really interesting. She said she's been struggling with her sweet boy to try to get him to do things around the house. Like, one thing that he hasn't been doing is emptying out his bag of his lunchbox and food stuff when he gets home. And historically, it has really bothered her. And she tried something different. She made a decision that she wasn't going to go after him. Excuse me, wasn't going to go after him and sort of nag him to keep, get the food things out of your bag. Did you empty your backpack out? Because that wasn't helping. She'd been doing it and it hadn't been working. It was just really taking a toll on their relationship. So instead, she decided that she was just going to start doing it for him. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And sort of when she felt in her heart that she wanted to. And something really interesting happened, which is that a bunch of sort of warmth bubbled up between them in their relationship. His ability to cooperate and participate more in the household increased. She even shared that he, who never cooks, got up on the weekend and wanted to make pancakes all by himself, something that he never would have done before. So there was real, or is real, transformation happening in that family because she noticed that what she was doing wasn't working, and she switched it around and started helping him more. So where does that leave us in terms of how much you should do for your sweet boy? It's interesting, when she was sharing that story with me, I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting, because so many professionals who I have learned from and listened to have said, if your kid can do something for themselves, let them do it for themselves. Or even if, one of them said, even if they can almost do it for themselves, let them do it for themselves. That's how they grow. And they would compare it to how a child learns to walk, right? We don't have to teach them. It's like we stand back and they take a few steps and they fall, and then they get back up and they try again. And that's kind of the general kind of accepted way to go about parenting. But this woman, this parent who I was talking to earlier, said she was learning from Dr. Neufeld, Gordon Neufeld, and he was suggesting something different, which is, instead of sort of pushing them to do more, to take the opposite approach and to do more for them, right? To show that you're there, to scaffold, if you will. And I haven't studied that particular piece of his work, so don't quote me there. I don't know the details of it, but the transformation that she's creating is amazing. So I wanted to share it with you. A couple of things to think about when you're trying to figure out, well, should I help him or should I not help him? Because not every kid is the same and not every situation is the same. So one is, does he want to do this thing? Or let's just start with there. Does he want to do this thing? And is it perhaps like feelings of fear or fear of failure or something that's getting in the way of him being able to kind of move into that growth mindset and sort of face the struggles and the failures that will likely come on his way to succeeding? Or is it more something that you want him to do? It's not something that he's trying to do, but it's something that you as the parent are wanting him to do. And maybe it is bringing up some counter will in him, right? And that's where you're going like this. And that was the situation with the parent in the story that I just shared. So if you're in a situation where, let's say, your boy's wanting to learn how to tie his shoes, but he's just getting super frustrated and throws the shoe, and he doesn't have the stick with itness to be able to practice and have the knot untie, or to succeed and then start running and then have it come untied and then have to try again, or the loop falling out, right? He doesn't have that ability yet, but the desire is intrinsic, right? It's coming from him. Then probably that's a good opportunity for you to set a warm, loving limit and help him, right? Move in and say, hey, let me show you how, or I would love to show you how to tie your shoe. And that's probably going to involve staying and listening to some upset and not taking it personally and allowing him to cry or emote however that comes out, and then saying again, hey, sweet boy, I'm here to help. Should we try again? He's going to need to build that endurance to get to that place to be able to tie his shoes. But again, remember, that was coming from his own desire. He wants to learn how to tie his shoes. If the situation is the other one that I brought up, where it's more like you're wanting him to do something, um, and it's not working, like that parent, right? You're that counter will is coming up, and you're hooked with your sweet boy, and you're not getting anywhere. Then I would suggest experimenting with this idea of doing more for him. So kind of getting out of the, how do you do that sail and wind thing? Getting your wind out of his sail. Is that how it goes? Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, instead of hooking and fighting about it and nagging him, try offering your assistance and seeing if that encourages him to actually say things like this mom said her son said, was like, oh no, I can do that. Like, she would take his stuff out of his backpack and just start putting it away without saying anything. And he would say, oh, I know how to do that, mom. I can do that myself. Right. So it's coming from him. It's so interesting how our kids, they want agency. I mean, it's not that interesting. I want agency too, right? I want to be able to kind of do what I want to do. And they also want to be in charge of their lives. So it's an opportunity to be able to do that. All right. Well, I hope this video was educational and helpful. Please go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what you learned or what you tried and what happened. Again, so much appreciation for you for being on this journey with me to create a more peaceful world, one sweet boy at a time. And I'll see you next week.